Greetings, ladies. Here I am again, appearing on your screen to teach you about menopause. You know, I imagine you groan every time you see me appear on the screen. I mean, I bring you all sorts of information that shocks you. But at least I teach you how to manage your menopause, so I hope I redeem myself to some extent. Speaking of appearances, today's topic is what appears at menopause. If you've been watching my videos in order, and I hope you are, you know that we're in the middle of my Wham series. Wham! That's an acronym for What Happens at Menopause. Wham! I'm grouping things according to common characteristics. All sorts of things happen at menopause. Some things dry up, some shrink, some grow, some sag, some get harder. The last 5 videos have been on each of those. And now we're going to discuss what appears at menopause. If you're a newcomer to my channel and you're trying to get the big picture, this might be the video for you, at least in terms of the basics. But this video is more of a list of things that appear rather than the specifics on any of them. So first I'll give you some background on what causes menopause in the first place. And I'm doing that because it's the very reason that all of these things appear. So, you've seen this before. This is a graph of your hormones over time. Okay, this first part that you see here is your hormones before any transition into menopause begins to occur. The pink line here is your female hormone estrogen. The multicolored line is the baby's hormone, progesterone. And the blue line is your testosterone, which is the male hormone, but you have some of it too. So, during your reproductive years, you see that all 3 hormones are high. You haven't a care in the world. You have a period every month, a few pregnancies along the way, and everything is hunky-dory. Then, you start transitioning into menopause. And the very first phase is called perimenopause. And this is where your progesterone, the multicolored line, drops. Just progesterone. Nothing changes but progesterone. And that's when your wacky periods appear. Gone are the days of regular, predictable periods. Suddenly, they're longer, shorter, heavier, lighter, less frequent. That may go on for years, but it's temporary. And then wham! You move on to the next phase, which is post-menopause. And that's the real essence of menopause. Post-menopause is when your estrogen disappears. And the disappearance of estrogen is what makes all the things we're talking about today appear. And post-menopause is not temporary. It goes on for the rest of your life. The problem is that most people tend to think of perimenopause as the whole enchilada. They completely ignore the fact that perimenopause is just a warning that the real deal is just around the corner. And the problem with making that mistake is that you completely miss the boat on what's really at stake. With menopause, there's no such thing as been there, done that. You haven't been there, done that until you are dead. So you'll recall video 11, way back in the early days of my series. It was on the signs and symptoms of menopause. I presented a long list of 22 signs and symptoms of menopause. Well, the vast majority of that list is due entirely to loss of estrogen at post-menopause. You may have some of these signs and symptoms during perimenopause, but like I said, it's just a warning for what's ahead. So as you have your very last period, here are the things that appear. Hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, fatigue, forgetfulness, mood swings, irritability, depression, cravings, mostly for alcohol, joint pain and joint stiffness, dry skin, hair loss, whiskers and chest hair, vaginal dryness, urinary tract infections, urinary leakage, weight gain, acne, and headaches. That's an awful lot of appearances. Now, the problem is that most people won't even talk about most of those things. Here you have a huge list of things that turn your life upside down, and people only talk about the hot flashes. That's crazy. The hot flashes aren't even the most bothersome symptom of menopause. Vaginal dryness is much, much more common as a problem. So let's put this into perspective. Women focus more on perimenopause than they do on postmenopause, even though postmenopause is the big ticket item. And they talk about the hot flashes and ignore 21 other symptoms that are actually more significant. But it's even worse than that, because nobody talks about the real facts or what really appears at menopause. Most women have no idea what's happening when this long list of symptoms appear. Many women get treated for depression. Some go on ridiculous diets. Most suffer in silence. That's absurd. It's unfair to women. If every woman had this education, she'd know exactly what's going on when these symptoms appear, and no woman would have to suffer. Each one would know how to get help on her own terms. But there's an even bigger problem. The absolutely most important thing that appears at menopause is an increased risk for certain diseases that can kill you. And most women don't even know that those risks are part of menopause. So despite all those attention-getting symptoms, the appearance of a greatly increased risk for heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's disease are the things that should be getting the most attention. Videos 77 through 104 have focused on how important it is to know about these diseases. If you haven't watched all my videos in order, please go back and at least watch videos 77 through 104 in order. Doing so may very well save your life. You see, for me, making these videos for you is about saving lives. Every woman who has attended my seminar will tell you that this education saves lives. So when it comes to heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's, the very reason that an increased risk appears at post-menopause is because your estrogen disappears at post-menopause. It's that direct. Your estrogen disappears and your increased risk for these diseases appears. This is undoubtedly the most important aspect of menopause. Now, there are 3 more diseases that appear more at menopause, but these 3 are related to aging. They are all diseases that are more common the older you get, and they are in the realm of gynecology, so I'll include them here. I covered them in my book, in my webinars, and in these videos, and they are uterine cancer, breast cancer, and ovarian cancer. The difference is that they are not due to estrogen loss. But most women have the relationship of estrogen to these diseases all mixed up and upside down. So here are the facts. Uterine cancer is actually caused by estrogen. That's why you have to take progesterone along with estrogen if you still have your uterus. Estrogen causes uterine cancer. Progesterone prevents uterine cancer, period. But breast and ovarian cancers are not caused by estrogen. They're caused by cycles. In other words, they're caused by the cyclic interaction of estrogen with progesterone. For them, estrogen alone poses less risk than estrogen with progesterone. So cycles are the culprit when it comes to breast and ovarian cancers. And then there are some good things that appear at menopause. One of them is self-confidence. Yep, many women notice the appearance of self-confidence for the first time at menopause. Without all the pressure to meet artificial standards of sexuality, they feel completely comfortable with themselves. And for some, self-confidence appears as a result of not having to please everyone else anymore. The other wonderful thing that appears at menopause is something called menopausal zest. I did a video on it long ago, which was video number 70. Menopausal zest is when you direct your energy to something really wonderful in your menopausal years. It could be a hobby, a profession, or a charity. Menopausal zest is what propels me to make these videos for you. I'm on a mission. I'm determined to change the world and make life better for all women. I've poured myself into creating an education that you've always deserved. It's an education for which you've waited much too long. So this is somewhat of a movement. The neglect needs to stop, and I'm determined to stop it. So in my case, menopausal zest is about menopause itself. But it can be about anything. So as you can see, many things appear at menopause. My goal is to make sure you know what they are and how to manage them. The bottom line is that menopause is all about the fact that your estrogen disappears, and that causes all these other things to appear. So that's it for today. Be sure to visit my website, which is menopausetailor.me. You'll be able to access webinars, schedule a one-on-one consultation, read articles I've written for you, and get whatever educational tools you want. So follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, subscribe to my channel, and come back in a week for what disappears at menopause. Bye.